All right, good afternoon. We will see today a song from the second Dalai Lama, which is called the Song of the Tantric Path. So, as usual, we will go through the paragraph after paragraph and or line after line, and then explain them. In this particular song, the second Dalai Lama goes into the explanations about the fourth tantric class. As you know, there are 4 levels in the tantric practices, and this song emphasizes on the 4th. All the texts actually which were written by the second Dalai Lama, or by the Dalai Lama usually, but particularly these kind of songs, are very clear and very precise. And these type of songs would require surely hours and hours of detailed explanation. So we will try to go through it, at least a part of it this afternoon. So the first chapter goes as follows. The Guru is the source of all tantric power. The practitioner who sees him as a Buddha holds all realizations in the palm of his hands. So devote yourself with full intensity to the Guru in both thoughts and deeds. We know already that on the Vajrayana path, the Guru is extremely important. The Lama, the guide, the root Guru is extremely important in order to give us the correct instructions. Sometimes we give the image of a mountain that needs to be climbed, and the importance to have the proper guides to help us to escalate the cliff. When you see the cliff that leads to the top of the mountain and you've never climbed, obviously you need somebody who will give you all the explanations about the material to use, how to apply, how to fix it. So in the same way, it is absolutely necessary to have a guide if you decide to enter into the tantric path. But given the importance of these guides and given the importance of the relationship you will establish with the one who will guide you on the way, it is important to be very careful. To be very careful in the way you will choose these guides in order to check carefully his quality. You will need some time. Your choice should not be made upon a good name, upon somebody just because he has a good reputation, or because he has a long name or beautiful titles. Your choice should not be based on how nice looking is the person, on the sweet words that he can give you, or how eloquent this person might be. So you need to spend some time to check the knowledge, to check the lineage, of all the gurus that this Lama had, and the teaching that he received from this other lineage Lamas. And of course, it is important also to take the time to check that what the Lamas is telling, is teaching, he also apply it in his personal life. And on the top of that, there is also a personal connection that we should feel with this person. Personal connection which might be karmic based. We just need to be careful that we are not simply observing our own emotions or projections. Once you have eliminated all possible doubts, regarding this Lama, his knowledge, his wisdom, then you might approach him and make the request to engage into the master-disciple relationship. You should really eliminate all possible doubts, because once this relationship established, it will carry you on the tantric path. But if you fail that engagement, the consequences also are quite severe. The song says the Guru is the source of all tantric power, which means it is from the relationship which is established with the Guru that you will get all your realizations. You can have very nice books, you can have very nice texts, even well described and detailed, but you need absolutely some formal transmissions in order to be able to engage into the practice. Also, the root guru you will choose will know you well enough in order to advise you what practice to do, when, and correct you if you are making mistakes. The second line says the practitioner who sees him as a Buddha, which emphasizes on removing doubts regarding about the realization, the higher realization of your spiritual guide. He will embody Buddhahood. He will embody Buddha himself. And he needs to be regarded, it needs to be believed to be an enlightened being. Because it is on the basis of this faith and understanding that you will receive the correct transmission directly from the Buddha. If you see your root guru as a normal human being, you will get the blessing from a normal human being. If you see your root guru as a Buddha, you will get the blessing from the Buddha. But we can understand the difficulty, first of all, to find the right guru, and second, to engage and follow in the proper master-disciple relationship. Once found, once you are sure about your choice and you have started this relationship, then your whole mind needs to be devoted to the practice taught by your teacher, to apply the practices which are taught by your Lama. That's why the last part of the paragraph says, devote yourself with full intensity to the gurus in both thought and deed. Thought and deeds is important because the point is not just to perform some actions but have different thoughts, or to have the perfect faith and the best thoughts but misbehave in the physical activities, or do not act with enough respect in the physical activities. This relationship is really the cornerstone of our spiritual development. Without it, it will be very difficult to engage and progress on the highest path. Some could emphasize on the danger to obey or to follow strictly what guides might advise to the disciple. But if you have made the proper checking prior to engage into the relationship, then there should be no doubt. Of course, we can start on the Buddhist path without to have found yet the root guru. There are a lot of teachings that you can listen, that you can read. You can learn how to meditate. You can start to apply meditation. You can start to apply common practices. So there is a lot of basic informations and practices that we can start to engage into prior to have this formal master-disciple relationship engaged. But will come one point from where this spiritual guidance is absolutely necessary. And when I say spiritual guidance, is not just to get a teaching here and there, but to have really somebody who will follow you, know you, and transmit whatever information you will need in the time you will need. The second verse says as follows: when the mind is not first well trained in the 3 levels of the exoteric path, then any claim to the profound tantric yogas is as empty boast, and there is every danger that one will fail from the way. As we know, before the Tantrayana or the Vajrayana, there is the path of the Sutra, the Sutrayana. There is sometimes a mistake to think that because we see ourselves as a higher being or more clever, then we jump directly to the Tantric path. But it is important to know that the Tantric path is based on the Sutrayana. So there are a lot of basics from the Sutrayana which need absolutely to be well understood, well trained, in order to look further into the Tantric path. The 3 levels which are mentioned here do refer to the 3 levels of motivation and the corresponding practices. So the 3 levels, when we talk about the 3 levels, we are talking about the small, medium, and great type of practitioners, which refers to 3 steps the practitioner need to go through to understand the highest aspect of the path. So the smaller scope refers to practitioner willing to increase or maintain their level of happiness within the samsara in this life and next life. The medium scope refers to the practitioner who has understood that it is important to come out of samsara once for good. So the practitioner understands that he has to reach liberation in order to end the root of suffering. So the first level, the practitioner will mainly meditate upon the karmic law, upon death and impermanence, and upon the unsatisfactory nature of samsara. The second level of the practice, the practitioner will meditate upon the interdependence of all existing phenomena. And the third level will meditate on bodhicitta, compassion, and emptiness. So this is what refers the 3 levels of the exoteric path. So this path needs to be walked on first in order to reach the highest tantric yogas. And as the text says, if we do not, then we take the high risk to simply fall off the path. And this is also connected with our pride and our constant projection upon what fits with our highest intellectual competencies. So we tend to think that we are smart, that we have the necessary knowledge already or the necessary motivation already to address directly the highest tantric steps and practices. But the truth is that we need to have a very solid ground, a solid foundation in order to build the higher stages. So we need to have meditated on the proper things, have the corresponding understanding and realizations before to go further. At the same time, it is true that we need to practice as much and as quick as possible because the time of our existence is unknown. But when we say to practice quickly, does it mean to bypass some important and necessary steps? To enter into the highest tantric path, we need a very good understanding. We need also to have accumulated some merits and the right motivation. If we enter into the highest practices without the foundation, not only we have the risk to commit serious mistakes, but our practices will be really empty of energy, empty of meaning. So to enter into the practice swiftly and with diligence, but not too quick, in the sense that we need first to lay the foundation, to go through the establishment of the proper meditation and the proper motivation. The last chapter, the door entering into the peerless Vajrayana is nothing other than the 4 tantric initiations. Hence, it is important to receive these fully and thus plant the seeds of the 4 Buddhakayas. This paragraph refers to the importance of the transmission, of the proper transmission. We need to find, of course, a qualified teacher, somebody who has done all the prerequisites practices in order to have the permission to give initiation, empowerment. One cannot just decide from a day to another, I will start to give some initiations. First of all, one needs the permission from his teacher to do so. One must have received the empowerment correctly, fully, have done the corresponding retreats and pujas. So one must find the qualified teacher and receive the correct empowerment before to engage into the practices. So we cannot just take a book about the 4th tantric class and say, okay, this I like and I will start to practice. This is not possible. One needs absolutely to have received the correct transmission. So when it refers here to the 4 tantric initiations, it refers to the 4 steps of a complete empowerment, which are the initiation of the vase, the secret initiation, the wisdom initiation, and the sacred word initiation. And these 4 initiations are giving the basis to achieve in time the 4 level of Buddha body. So this refers to the Nirmanakaya, Zambhogakaya, Dharmakaya, and Svabhavakaya. So respectively, the emanation body, the enjoyment body, the truth body, and the essence body. So sometimes we talk only about 3, sometimes we talk about 4, we can talk even about 5. Some explanation will talk only about 2. This is just a difference in explanation. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there are 4 tantric level of practices. And the practices which are connected with the 4th tantric class require some full empowerment prior to engage into the practices. The initiation of the 3 first classes, of course, also needs to be correctly transmitted by a qualified teacher, but their practices have a lesser impact on our minds. Thus, we could say somehow that the danger of practicing these ceremonies without proper transmission is less problematic. The practices of the 4th Tantric class are involving some plays with energies, and these energies are powerful, so they should not be challenged without proper transmission. So if ever there are some practices which are calling you for any reason, karmic connections, and which are of the 4th Tantric level, do not engage into them without having received the transmission, the empowerment, and the commentary, so the explanation about how to practice. As we can understand, the Vajrayana path at the same time is extremely powerful, but since it challenges our most sacred and powerful energies, it needs to be we need to engage into with care and tradition. I think we will stop here for today. Also to take the time to meditate properly on these steps as already explained, and in the next teaching we will see the 3 next paragraphs.